I mean, if they
Yeah.
have to do it, I think that's obviously a clear exception, right? Like the police would just know, okay, we're not going to ding the people for this.
Yeah, which is fine. I just wanted to make sure I put it out there, so it's in the.
Literally the only one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't there guidance put out by the cops about that though, where they said when you're dropping off at the vault, you have to do it here.
Yes,
and you have to do it in a certain way, or it's not legitimate.
Correct. Yeah, I made that note. I just wanted to bring it up again for everyone here, just so it was seconded.
Okay. So the vault drop off would be the only exception to this. Yeah, because like they will literally just pull up right to the courthouse doors in their trucks, and it's a little ridiculous.
I've heard people say they'll do it at the hospital and pull right to the doors, which is
Oh,
crazy.
yeah,
I haven't seen
I've
that,
seen
but I've
it.
heard people talk about
I have witnessed it. Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Would this also qualify behind Bay City Bank, where they line up to get as close to the door as possible? I know that's also a logistical thing for them.
No, because that's like an alleyway. Like,
we don't have laws about parking in alleys.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, well, there you
perfect.
go, then.
No problem.
All right. Well, I guess yeah. Any nays?
Huzzah!
I am 100% for that.
All right. Next thing, this is going to be the just the one right above it. Lawyers required on all contracts. I guess like a little mini disclosure. This kind of came about from just talking with various members of the DOJ and seeing a court case pop up in which this is kind of an issue. The TLDR is there's a lot of people on the yellow pages who advertise contract services. Many of them are claiming to be former lawyers, legal aids, et cetera, et cetera. You know, playing a little bit fast and loose in this. Personally, I don't have any problem if someone wants to write a contract, but I do think that a lawyer should be required to sign it for it to be legally binding. You know, that just gets someone else, like a third party, to look over the contract, make sure it's following the law, you know, the legislation that we all pass here.
For a while,
and there's really no excuse if that contract, you know, it isn't in compliance at that point. If a lawyer does help write a contract, that would also make it a legal service that is covered under the attorney-client privilege, as contract services is a type of law service.
Okay.
Yeah, people shouldn't be writing contracts like that if they're not lawyers. Because then essentially, we try to adjudicate whose fault was and whether or not it should be enforceable.
Maybe thinking about starting later on Saturdays. No, I'm fine with this.
Exactly.
Means I can get some hours
The only
in.
thing I have in here, and once again, you know, we could change it if you all want, but this is a retroactive thing. If a contract currently doesn't have a lawyer's signature on it, it's
null and void.
Well, no, they have 14 days to get one,
Buffalo?
right? Like, if they can't find
okay.
a lawyer in 2 weeks to say, hey, this is legal, they clearly don't give a fuck because they're not trying hard enough. But the point is, there is no grandfather clause. Your contract has to get a lawyer to sign it for it to be legal going forward and even retroactively.
Seems reasonable.
Yep.
Just one question. What if there's like a legal
Sultan? Maybe.
How would I even say this? What if the contract is already being brought up for dispute legally before someone's trying to go get a lawyer to sign it?
I mean, look, that could, in theory, just be like a case-by-case basis, right? The
Okay.
trial judge could handle that at the time. You know, I know there's already one case like that on the docket. Maybe there'll be others, but this should at least cover 99% of existing documents, you know?
Got it.
Okay.
Do we vote on that? Any voters? Any nayers?
No nayers.
No.
All right.
Okay. Easy enough.
And then the last thing,
Why is there a
this
bike?
one is more of an open discussion with you all, but it is going to be the one right above that. At the disclosures, I have that as a work in progress. basically, I've talked to various people, once again from, either on this council or within the DOJ. And I've kind of separated this into 3 levels of disclosures. We have the light, the medium, and the heavy section. And yeah, it's just like how strict do we want to be with our ethical disclosures?
Mm.
So the lawyer one's approved. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the contract lawyer one got approved.
I'm just adding an approved tag when we do that.
Oh, okay.
Fuck yeah. Good idea.
Nice.
Disclosures. What is this? Disclosure off.
Don't everyone speak at once on ethics. Here.
If I'm looking at this
Yeah.
straight off the bat, my initial would be medium minus the name of your legal and blood relative.
Okay.
What is this? Is this like our disclosure on things?
I mean, personally, I'm if we yeet, yeah, that name, the names of blood relatives,
it's
I'm
this
fine
fucking
with
guy.
that. I mean, we as the council could always tighten these or loosen them as time goes on with like another vote in the future.
Which document is this? Because I'm seeing. I don't think I've quite been able to find it.
1483. It's ethical disclosures, work in
Perfect.
progress.
Hook a
I
man
just
up.
see too many damn medical reports. Sometimes things are hard to find.
Oh,
things.
1483.
Perfect. I appreciate it. All right, I got it here.
Weed? You're planting weed?
Carrot.
You growing weed, dude?
No, what? It's illegal. Why would I do that?
Kermit, you growing weed?
No, I don't grow weed. Why are you
Okay.
yelling it?
I don't know, sorry. Sometimes I just can't control the volume of my voice.
I don't grow. I'm not doing anything illegal while I work for ETA.
He knows better. I'll end his life.
Parts and some days I kind of wish I did, but anyway.
Stop. Okay. Well, I'm used to heavy disclosures, honestly, back when I was deputy mayor, so I have no issues with that. So, but that's
Good friends is probably too expensive. I think that's
That is very
vague
yeah.
and
In this city,
subjective to
everyone's
who you
friends.
are and
Yeah.
how social you are.
I don't think you should be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm good with medium, other than cutting out the relatives portion.
Yeah, I mean, if you just add. Well, I mean, people on city council really shouldn't be holding private
that you, Kermit?
business employment separate from their job anyway, right?
No.
Okay, it's Max. All right.
So, I mean, we just get rid of the categories and just make it so that you just disclose investments and you agree. I mean,
Oh, the reason why I have this employed or
Seems fair.
consult for, so like for me as an attorney, I may still consult with people, or I may still be an attorney for people on like one-off cases, right? And I mean, is that something that we feel that I as a lawyer on this council should have to disclose? That sometimes people come to me, these XYZ come to me for advice on various legal matters, or is that not relevant to our work here before the council?
Meeting, yeah.
I think there's a difference between one-offs and an ongoing relationship, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, entities that you consult for. I mean, that would be an ongoing thing, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's impossible to qualify, right? Like,
The banger.
So, for
They're
example,
all fucking bangers.
the reason why it's bad to be employed somewhere is because you have an ongoing, confirmed, formal allegiance via contract. Same with like a retainer, same with being employed as a, business associate somewhere or an investment partner. But if you happen to consult for someone along the way, I don't know how you could control that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, disclosures are tricky because, like you said, a lot of us have been around here for a very long time. We know a lot of people. Myself, I really don't like have any issue with saying, okay, yeah, I can throw in my 2 cents on this, but y'all should probably know that, like I've known this person for blah 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 blah.
How have I
We've been
been?
friends for a very
I've
long
been
time.
alright.
Or
I really want to get back. I really want to get.
I'm
more tattoos.
interested in,
That's how I feel right now.
investing in this business that, may be coming forward, blah, 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 blah. So, hey, my brother is wanting to open this business, So I'm going to sit back and just chill on this one.
I mean, do we want to just vote in light disclosures then? We could chew on this a little bit more, and if we get into gray areas in the future, maybe we could amend the ethical disclosures legislation.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have no issues with just easing into things, baby steps.
All right, well then I will ask for a vote just on light disclosures, ethical disclosures right now.
And I have an appointment after I go to the US, and he wants to redo this entire thing.
Any nays?
And I'm like, bruh.
Sick.
All right. We're all yayers today. All right.
I know, yeah.
That's all I
Honestly,
got.
it started last time too, so yeah.
Philippa, you said you had something?
No, I don't. Honestly, I've been too sick, so I'm just here to vote on things this time around.
Well, I got an announcement.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way. So y'all may notice as you're walking around or driving around the city, you may see new PD cars. Those have not been purchased for them by the state. They are not in full active use. What it is that a manufacturer has collaborated with
We make it look
PD
more
to
intense.
allow
It's because
for
he wants
test
it to
driving
match
so that they can,
terms of the color.
improve their engineering. It's kind of like a partnership. There's no money changing hands there. It's just PD are volunteering their time, and the manufacturer's getting.
It's because, like I talked to him about, I want to have
what has happened is that Mosley's has taken in a stock from the same manufacturer
and like
of the
here,
basic models, the CVPI and the Vapid. And those two models are now available for purchase at Mosley's. So if individual officers save up enough money, they can purchase their own police vehicles and then upgrade them as they see fit.
Are those only purchasable by police?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So just so there's no confusion, there's no government stipends being handed out under the table or anything. It will still need to go, as we discussed, either through personal expenditures by PD or an approved budgetary expenditure by us, which we have not approved as of yet.
Correct.
That's it.
All right. I do have something I want to bring forward. I don't know.
Is it the Ego Act?
It is the Eco Act.
This shit looks good, dog.
It is a. Do you know what the Rust Act is? I'm assuming most people know what the Rust Act was.
Yes.
Oh yeah, very
Yeah, I
familiar.
remember that.
Very
Yeah.
familiar. Very
Yeah.
familiar.
Not you.
So just reminders, is this basically serial assault and killings but expanded to?
It is.
No.
It is basically
Targeted, right?
It is targeted harassment towards the same people, businesses, and that general groups. Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing this forward is because currently what is happening at Mosley's is that nobody wants to work there because they are being targeted for something that had nothing to do with.
Yep.
So I figured bringing back the Rust Act with a different name would be a good call. because of that. Currently, people are being targeted at Mosey's because of something that is going on between somebody that works at Mosey's and another entity or another group. And it has nothing to do with the people there, basically. But they're just being caught in the middle.
Yeah, I was actually almost stabbed the other night because of this bullshit. So I am all for it.
I'm for it in general. My question is, one of the pitfalls we had of the last version of the Rust Act is gang member, or alleged gang member works at X civilian business or just happens to be there at the time. And the claim was always like, oh, we're not going after the business, we're targeting this particular gang
Mary's
member,
no
or this
angel.
particular
Doesn't
criminal
matter.
who just
The
happens
people
to be
at
there at
the
time.
fucking place have nothing to do with
Is
Mary
that-
and what she
That's
does.
still going to be an
That's
issue under
the
this,
entire
or
point
are we
of it.
saying like, doesn't matter? You targeted them at the business. You're getting
I would say it
things
doesn't
for
matter.
that. Okay.
Because you have three.
In order to remove that kind of like squirreling, we could get rid of the premeditation being a requirement.
Yes, and it also means that you do it 3 times in a month at the same place. If you manage to do that 3 times, I feel like you as a person should rethink how you go about handling your shit.
Agreed.
Yeah, like that is Yeah,
if we can
I
deter
agree.
people from attacking civilian businesses, that would be fantastic. And I think
if
this is
you
a
want to
good
go
way start
after
doing that.
somebody, don't just wait for them outside of their job.
So how do
Go
we
find
prevent?
them.
Hold on. How do we prevent gangs from making civilian businesses their base of operations?
Well, I mean,
I have an idea.
we don't let criminals run.
They don't have to run it.
businesses.
They can just hang out.
They can work there or hang out. Yeah.
Oh, but they could also hang out at the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't they doing that?
Well, they used to.
Funny you ask.
Yeah, that has
Oh,
happened.
Jesus.
The music is 3%.
Yeah, so I'll say without dwelling too much on the past, the Rust Act was incredibly difficult because the allegation was that
I'll turn it down.
the people who were quote unquote defending the place of business were alleged to be civilians, and the people who were attacking the place of business were alleged to be gang members. So the way that it worked was that we could only ever charge the people who attacked the business. And that's fair if indeed the people defending are civilians and the people attacking are gang members. The problem is that we run into a situation where, as already brought up here today, if the people defending the business act like gang members but do so under the guise of, being civilians standing their ground.
Yeah.
Because they don't do it on company property and they don't involve random civilian people.
I don't know.
That is the point. Whatever gangs do to other gangs is between them. Don't involve people that have nothing to do with it.
Could there be a system
that is
in
the
place
reason
down the line
that
where
we're
you could
bringing this
revoke
forward
a
is because
business
they don't
license
give a
if,
shit when
it is
people
basically just
are
being used
not
as a
involved in
front?
marriage.
I think there should be something like that.
There will be.
Yeah, agree.
There will be. Don't worry, guys.
Perfect.
Yeah. Are we going to touch on businesses at all today?
That's the purview of the mayor's office. I'm going to handle it. Everything will be put up for review, just as a courtesy to you guys.
Okay. Fantastic.
What
I keep getting lots of questions. That's why I asked. So.
As far as
tell them to come to me, and then I'll tell them to fuck off.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
Fair enough.
As far as Ego Act, I mean, I'm fine with getting something on the books. I think the intention of it is very good, and then we could cross bridges as we come up with them.
Yeah.
Or our
exactly.
predecessors.
It's kind of. Go on.
Sorry, no, you go on.
I was gonna say I kind of left it as it is because we can always reword it, and I didn't put any times or fines down because we can always discuss that. It was just to bring it on to bring it forward and on the table. So
thank you, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely get rid of the premeditation part, in my opinion.
Yeah, we can just remove it. We should be able to do that.
if you want to even take a look at the chart, or can you look at charges in your MDT? You should be able
Yeah.
to, right?
We
Yes.
Okay.
can, yeah.
If you want to just cross-reference it even a little bit with gang-related shooting to kind of parse out where you think the crossover might be, I don't know if that'll help or not, but it is in there at least.
All right, I'll pay you back after this. As far as gangs using these places as kind of like a impromptu safe haven or whatever, we could beef up loitering fines and shit. If it doesn't seem like they're actually
Do
working
we
there.
have loitering?
I don't know. Do we?
No.
No.
Oh, that was taken out. Yeah, that was.
Loitering was
remnant
removed
of
by
the past.
popular vote in the
Yep.
past.
So when it comes to this, obviously you've offered Mosley's as a situation where this is happening. But
Yes. Also,
just so are people actually being arrested for these things? Like, are there? Is this happening? Is there anyone that actually could be charged with this right now?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to put names out there, but there's definitely current issues where people are being harassed for things that they have nothing to do with, and it is specifically at Mosley's. But I feel like Senior Buns could also be another place of interest for something like this. They do have Fuck You Fridays, which apparently kind of rubs people the wrong way sometimes.
I hate that that's a thing.
I get that.
Well, that would be perfect with this because it's all about fucking ego, and this is called the Ego Act.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a civilian group could be customers of Senior Buns, and you could charge the workers with this, maybe, if you really wanted to.
It is very, it's very strong. So I guess I want to feel out if it's truly necessary.
It's
I
strong.
mean, like
because
if you have the same people being arrested for, attacking Senior Buns employees, if it's constantly happening, which I know for a fact, I have seen the same people either being attacked or attacking at Senior Buns and getting taken down just as EMS. So, like, I mean, the ones that I don't even get calls to, I can't even imagine. But I mean, like, if they're doing this multiple times in like a week or even a month, like, they need to be.
It's on them at that point. If it's
they need to be smacked down because stop acting like a fucking animal, please.
Fuck it, all right.
The only thing I would ask, and I don't even know if this is an issue or not, and I might ask, Chief Justice yourself, would we want to keep the term targeted violence in there, or is there a way to make it more specific?
That's the same thing as premeditated.
Okay.
Proving targeting is mens rea. You're proving a thought process. You could do it constructively by saying, they drove a fucking oil tanker directly into Mosley's or flew a plane into the building.
They did do that, by the way.
Oh, I was using examples from the past.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I was there for that.
but yeah, you could prove it constructively or directly, but most of the time you're going to be arguing their state of mind, which again limits you in how you can prosecute.
Got it.
You could make it easier and just say, like, if they're caught on the property 3 times for doing something dumb.
That could get
messy.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a violent felony, or
what if instead of targeted violence we say felonious violence or something like
that's
actually,
more where I
that
was
would be
coming
good.
towards.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that might be good to utilize here is twofold. One, we make the definition as general as possible. So get rid of terms like targeted,
Bro, I am
things like that,
fucking
right?
happy that people are all for
the idea of the discernible pattern or purpose. Get rid of that. Okay, just make it a strict liability.
Bro.
If 3 attacks happen against a civilian, individual, group, or business in the period of 30 days, and then make it what is known as an indiscriminate or indefinite sentencing crime. So it's not held until trial, but in the MDT, the penal code will appear as zeros for the time and fine. And what that means is that it just has to go in front of a judge. So this way, if let's say it's Bobby Charles and someone else attacking Mayor Max over and over, those guys are knuckleheads. We're not gonna send them to jail for a year and fucking 100 grand because they keep kicking Max in the shins or whatever, right? However, if let's say it's, and I'm just gonna pick someone, Juno Sweeney flying airplanes into the lumber mill every day,
Fuck yeah.
that might be something that requires a bit heavier hand, and it will also allow lawyers the chance to argue not just the crime, because the crime is pretty straightforward, right? If they get charged with it, they did it the 3 times in 30 days, it'll allow lawyers to target more so of how the punishment should work, which is generally more positive for everyone because there's less hinging on a binary result, and there's more ability for a lawyer to return a result for a client that's not just you win or you lose.
Yeah.
Those would be my thoughts. And I think that way we can implement what Mr. Deputy Mayor has suggested without us having to get bogged down in the language. Is make it as simple as possible and let the judges and the lawyers figure it out in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Do we want to fix it now so that we can pass it?
I can delete the specific language and then y'all can give it a look over and see what you think.
Yes, please.
Excellent. We'll wait for him to do that. How long do you think that's going to take you, Crane?
2 or 3 minutes. You can talk about whatever.
Okay. Well, we'll wait before we go on. Any exciting news from anyone?
There's a restock at Mostly's.
Max and Siobhan got married. Congrats.
Oh my
By
God.
Crane.
Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations.
Wow,
Amazing.
congrats.
Do they have maces in
Appreciate-
stock?
What's a mace?
Mesa.
Mesa.
Oh, the
Mesa.
vehicle?
Those are cool. That's a good one.
I really want that.
They have a Premier, a Dominator, a Gauntlet, a Buffalo STX FQ2, a Rocotto, a Buffalo again, and a Sultan, and Penumbra, and that's about it.
Okay.
Well,
Anyone need food
I
or
am-
water?
I don't need food or water, but you know
Oh,
what
I'm
I
good.
do
Alright.
need? I am
So-
officially accepting donations of money. Just putting it out there. Just officially accepting money donations.
The Buffalo STX.
For
was
what?
Everything I
ass, the
have is in ROM.
Phantom.
What's the-
Stop.
I want to buy a house.
Thanks, dog.
I kind of want to see the rest of
Oh.
the cars, though.
So do I.
Nice. Me too.
Really?
Yeah, I think everybody.
Yeah,
would
everyone-
love that.
Everyone here does.
Oh, it'd be
Yeah.
crazy
The
if, like,
Gauntlet.
I don't know, someone like
FK.
Michael
What?
would also buy a house with me. You know, that'd be crazy, right, Michael?
That'd be crazy if I didn't
that-
already
that'd
have
be
a
crazy.
house.
Crazy.
You know.
Oh my god.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, my brother and I are going in on a house together. So
Damn.
Yeah,
I have
Mi-
news.
Mi-
I hit 50 stars in sanitation.
Good job.
Yeah,
Wow.
crazy, right?
congrats.
Yep. Yep.
Toes is
yep.
begging for people to do it with. He called me in the yellow pages.
called me
so if
too,
you ever
fuck
need
Toes.
a new one. Yeah.
What if we
Oh,
got a
God.
secret government employee safe house
oh my god.
Oh, that's cool.
just for us?
Sure. fuck
Adam,
it.
do you want me to put that in the notes?
I
No.
want to see them.
Okay.
I mean, it's expensive.
Wasn't that like my idea? Did
It
I
was
mention-
that was Juno's idea.
There is
What
no
is
way.
going on right
No.
here? Huh?
So,
we anticipate
uh,
needing that for some reason? or-
Just to
Well,
just
my-
to give y'all a
I mean,
heads
look,
up,
when we
you know,
start
Why is my
rejecting
MDT
people
showing?
for like businesses or whatever, for whatever reason, or other things, or
Think
laws
they'll
that
attack
are,
us?
or like legislations that are directly against them, like the one that Michael just brought up, then yeah, we're gonna get fucking targeted tenfold. Are you
well,
kidding?
yeah. I mean,
If you guys are ready to review, it's edited.
Okay.
I'd like to stop waking up at the apartments.
Yeah,
That's fair.
same.
Yeah, we all would.
I don't want to
Do
get yoinked
I
as I'm
sleep
walking
in the
downstairs.
hospital.
Just do what I do. Wake up at your
That's terrible.
house.
It's not your fucking
God
house,
damn it,
bitch.
Kermit.
What the hell? What's
It's not in your name.
What the
or do what
hell?
I do: sleep with a cop and just
Kermit,
have-
stop being a
get a
distraction.
PD escort every
What?
morning.
Okay, so
Wow.
essentially, action creates 2 applicable statutory punishments for violence against individual groups or businesses. Statutory punishments seek to curb rampant abuse. So, second degree, individual commits 3 separate acts of felonious violence against a civilian individual, group, or business within a period of 30 days. They're subject to prosecution of the EGO Act. First degree targeted violence if an individual commits 5 separate acts, blah, blah, blah. They will be held until trial while waiting prosecution of the Ego Act, and then punishments for these charges will be determined in court under argumentation by attorneys. There will be indiscriminate sentencing under the penal code.
I like
Perfect.
that.
Looks
Yeah,
Extremely
Perfect.
simple. It
Yep.
means
Good.
that people know not to fuck around and target the same person and resolve their
Yep.
differences. If they don't, what I will say, the only thing that is difficult here is we will be tasked, especially in the early days of the city, with determining who is a civilian.
Right.
And the reason I
This is
say
a
that
tricky
is
Yeah.
because you're
because
the
there are
lawyer.
many people who have been arrested for
You know
violent
how
felonies
things
or
are.
possession of PD equipment, PD handguns, who have been involved in various scenes, who right now are working civilian jobs and some even government jobs.
Mm.
So it will be hard at first for us to separate the difference between what is now the Ego Act and what eventually will be like gang-related shootings.
Right.
Yeah, I actually, so at least from if I'm corrected, I'd be happy to be, but many years ago, as far as I was aware, anyone who wasn't a law enforcement officer or an active military member was a civilian, and it didn't matter how many felonies they had on their record.
So, and what I will tell you is, this was what I wanted to do with the Rust Act. And one of the things that I joked about, I don't know if Malton was around for that discussion at the time, is that gangs were about to fuck around and find out. Because if two gangs, under the current wording of this law, get into a conflict, then 3 separate acts of felonious violence is going to stack up really quick.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
talked about just doing Rust Act instead of gang-related shooting if we got sick of it.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
I won't be
Hell,
mad about that.
What that means is, if we do this, and I'm just telling you guys now, what this means is that
Bring
if
shit to the
gang A and
table.
gang
I'm fucking
B
proud of myself.
go against
Woo!
each other repeatedly,
Here, Lisa.
it means that by the 5th point of conflict, you might have, and I'm just going to throw out a random number here, 12 people all on hold.
Well, I mean, that's
Mhm.
better than them being like, this is actually perfect. This is
Yeah.
honestly such a good fucking thing
Yeah,
because
maybe
at
they
least
could
they
actually
won't be.
resolve
Hang
their
on, hang on. At
differences
least they
then.
won't be on the. At least they won't be on the fucking streets putting other
Yeah.
people at risk.
Listen, hey, I'm all for
You're
it.
for it, yeah.
I'm just telling you
Yeah,
the
no,
kind of
they-
blowback to prepare for.
Yeah, they can
I
go
don't
fuck
care
themselves
about
because
blowback, so
the blowback that we'll
Yeah.
receive is nothing in comparison to random civilians who are just going about their
I
day having their
refuse to
fucking
go
day ruined.
back. Refuse to go back to the days where it's just constant gang on
Hey,
gang.
I sleep in the courthouse. All right, I'm just telling you, I protect my own neck. So
Is that?
Yeah, no,
I mean-
I would, suggest that maybe 12 people who are shooting each other in the middle of the street 5 separate times might have larger things they need to reflect on than whether or not they're going away for a long period
Yeah.
of time.
all right,
That's what
sounds good to me.
a lot of this stuff really needs to make people stop and think before they just result to violence. Like I refuse to let that happen. We haven't even been back here for 2 months. Like there's no way.
Can
I'm all for
I
it.
share an idea which would be good in terms of this as well? After I'm assuming that everyone's going to vote yay for this rather than nay. But Max,
not
you know
gonna
how
show you
you
the
put up
picture.
state announcements after the fact? I really want to push for a fucking press conference. I really want to push for one because there's other things as well that Nakoda I'd like to talk to you about specifically. Things that I've heard about PD, and I'd like to talk to Slacks about it as well, and have the PD have an opportunity to share their quote unquote side of the story of the things that have happened recently. That
Wait, what do you
has-
mean? Hear things about PD?
Yeah, what things?
So I spoke to a couple people in terms of the whole Murphy Braun stuff that happened, along with the Mr. Case situation as well, and it's definitely put a really sour taste in people's mouths about how the police department conducted themselves, and what reason they even had for being able to push both those things.
That
so
sounds like we
going-
should go to Malton, right?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
a DOJ issue, no? Because
That's
those
the head of the
charges were.
bar.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Oversight board.
I was moreover thinking that like the press conference would be good for the police department to actually. So my whole thing I want to avoid miscommunication. I want to avoid the lack of communication. And most importantly, what I want is the police department, at least someone, a recognized individual from the police department, to actually be present at
How
the
do you
press
eat
conference and
frozen
share
mochi?
important details like this. Because then, at least, even though, yeah, people will 100% nitpick everything the police department will say, but at least it'll be communicated. At least an effort is being made rather than, no, we don't want to talk to anyone about this. Because at that point, the bridge is already burning. Why add more fuel to the fire? At least you can try and stagger it, if anything. At least you're attempting to communicate with the public, which is incredibly important, in my opinion. Like, people should be communicated to. So, with the press conference, with us sharing the things that we've done, beyond just the state announcements, in which we can go into more
Frozen
detail and
mochi.
potentially answer questions that are selected by, let's say, Ursula
Shut up.
from the crowd, then that's great. That's amazing. I'd
You
love
don't.
that. But
Isn't
then
it ice
also
cream?
having the police department
I'm
then
not
do a press
confused.
conference shortly after that. And this isn't just for the police department. If there's something going on with the medical board, then that too, and that would be obviously be more of a future thing if anything does arise from the medical board.
As long
I
as
zoned
as long
out
as it's like a
completely.
I don't want to say limited because, well, maybe restricted to just the press then, because like I'm not trying to have people be lambasted by the public either, like
Well,
the
then
town halls
at that
of old,
point,
because that's
we
just
might as well just contact Ursula to write a report. I mean, yeah, sure, there's going to be situations in which people, no matter what, some people are going to fuck around, but they're going to find out. If they want to disrupt something, they're going to get arrested, because if the police department are there, then the majority of the police officers are also going to be there. Sorry, when I meant
Yeah.
police department, if an officer's going to be there advocating on behalf of their officers, their colleagues, whatever, then the police department are going to be, they're going to be there. That's with any event.
Fucking hat.
Any event. But if we went with that, Edda, we might as well just write something up and put it on Twitter, which I don't think is going to be as effective as a press conference in person. I don't think this is something
well,
that
a
we should...
recorded press conference with, just press. I mean, that is still,
But I want people there. I want people to be able to be there and feel like they are being
All right,
communicated
so
to,
can we?
you know?
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I just want to understand this better. So are you inviting PD to talk to the public, or are you dictating? What's the?
I'd like to suggest that I can't obviously force anyone to do anything.
Sheriff one.
But I think it's I would strongly advise
what's her
please,
face?
at least one
I
officer
forgot her name.
be at a press conference to talk about the things that have recently happened, because it's all over on the streets.
Alex, I
And
want to
hearing
bet
one
Alex is
perspective of
losing
it,
her
I think it's
fucking
important
mind
for the
Right.
public
right
to
now.
hear
The
another
only
perspective.
concern I would have is, what if they're still in the midst of, let's say, like, for example, if I'm in the DOJ, I'm in the same boat
Is
sometimes,
this
right?
still part of the
Mhm.
ego?
Like, for
Talk?
example, the
No,
thing
this
with
is like a
Murphy.
fucking believe.
There are a ton of discussions and things happening right now within the DOJ related to Murphy's case
right.
that, while the public may feel a certain way, there's no way that I could in good faith engage with the public, because it would effectively malign what is being worked on.
Right.
And so then I'd be put in a
Gender
position
bend
where
ashy.
either I just say nothing and look like, an asshole, or I say we're doing the best we can, but I can't discuss it with you, which makes me look like even more of an asshole. I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose for the PD or the DOJ in that case.
Then they would talk about the things that they can talk about. So, though they cannot talk about the Murphy case because it's been there's further.
I'm gonna go grab
talk
Mochi
about it
while
within the
they have
DOJ,
this
which
conversation.
isn't
I don't know what's
private
going on. I'm zoned
information.
out.
Then maybe talking about the Mr. K situation,
What
something along those
situation is
lines.
that?
In which so this is from his point of view, like he was found like with a weapon, and while he was incapacitated on the ground, he claimed that it had been planted on him, and then he was let go, and he was in the cells with representing someone, I believe, and during that,
Is it like a legal aid?
yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And then he got locked down. I mean, regardless, he was locked down there anyway. But all the doors around him got locked, and a warrant was pushed, knowing that he was there in the police department. And
So he walked into the police department with an active warrant?
No. He walked into a police department without a warrant, and then the warrant went active while he was present there. I'm sure there's more to this story. And
there absolutely
is.
1,000,000% is.
There is. I mean, look, as far as the topic at hand, if we as the council want to do a press
Why do they
conference
wrap
after,
them
I don't have an
individually?
issue with that. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
I've already talked to the captains about,
Moon is
you know,
playing
their
old
kind
school
of
RuneScape?
street cred, shall we say. Like, there's nothing stopping them from doing a
Should
press
just log in
conference
and
on their own time.
spam
If,
him.
yeah,
they so
but that's.
choose.
I think this is
Hey,
obviously
what's up?
coming from a place of care because it is.
I'm
I'm
having
gonna say
my,
it's personal.
my
However,
hair
there were obviously feelings since I used to be a police officer. Though we're in a completely
bleached
different
as well on
situation now. It
Friday?
still arises these feelings. So, if I on my own time, I want to talk to Captain Slacks and hear things from his point of view. And Nakoda Molten, if you'd like to be there, I'd like that to happen. I want to try and meet with him after this meeting.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to talk to you
Stay
after,
plat
just so I
or go
can
red.
get a
Stay
full
plat.
purview of what's being referenced and
unbiased.
what's being
Okay.
said, so I can clarify anything.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say bluntly, I don't think we should be leveraging press conferences based on rumors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, my whole intention was more of a communication rather than anything else.
What even is
Yeah, that
this?
should
Communication
happen.
is
That should
key.
happen privately between people, so we can establish what the situation actually is. And then, if a press conference needs to be held once there's mutual understanding, then that's more of a prepared
Does it take a
statement,
lifetime
right?
keep?
As opposed to
Mhm.
Is
just
it
kind
just
of
having the like
because
the
effectively,
blue purple
if
shampoo?
we were to hold a press conference and then
This is
invite
so
the
weird.
police to speak on some of these matters, if I was a civilian
Does
and I
Red-
saw that,
does
my
fucking
perception would be
SEMA
if
like
the city
this?
council called out the police department,
Mhm.
and I think that's a pretty drastic step.
Okay, so then let's move on from that. How do you guys feel about a press conference after today's meeting? Not today specifically, but perhaps Tuesday, from us as the council.
I think press conference is a good idea.
Yeah.
I got
Cool.
super busy with some other things after the last meeting. In the future, what has been agreed upon is that DOJ announcements will go out on the government email server that will have all of the things that are voted on at each meeting and approved and put into legislation so that people know, as well as the state announcements. We now have the state announcements section in the MDT, so we can memorialize the announcement of the announcement.
Okay.
As far as Ego Act, just to make sure, were there any nayers on that one?
Negative.
I don't think so. After it was changed. to
Nay, there were no nays.
Okay,
Nay,
I'll
there
put
you
that
go.
one in as
Good
well.
fucking shit.
Did he say ego or eagle?
Ego.
EGO.
Okay, thank you.
Not a bad name, honestly.
Yeah, it's very good.
What's next?
Does anyone else have anything before I go present what I want to present?
Yes.
Please, Mr. Nakota.
If you will pull up report 1639, I have several changes to active charges within the MDT that I feel need to be updated. Okay, I will I'll get into the nitty-gritty of what I have to say at least. There have been now, let me double check my notes. 16 separate incidences in the last 30 days involving officers being stabbed, shot, and robbed in one capacity or another. As I'm sure a lot of you are not surprised, a lot of these instances involve our firearms being robbed from us. Several people have been recovered with them. I think we've had 3 recovered in the last week. We had a 24-hour period where 4 separate officers were shot. In one of these instances, officers were responding to a call. They saw someone who was repairing a vehicle. They went to help that individual, and then they were open fired upon and then robbed of their firearms.
Yeah, no.
People,
Mochi is not my thing.
people do not really
Frozen
seem
or
to
not.
care about the active time and fine as far as either robbing us, shooting us, stealing our equipment, or getting caught with it. Apparently, because as Crane said, we've had people who have already multiple time offenders of PD firearms. Obviously, there's kidnapping charges on there, which I also think are important and
Like
egregiously
Frozen
low
isn't
for the
bad.
charge.
I just don't like it.
But
The consistency it's weird.
I have increased what I believe needs to be upped as far as time and fine for some of those charges, because people seem to either not understand or don't care. And as someone who is out on the street every day and responding to these calls of people being stabbed, shot, and robbed who are already officers, I think they need to be increased.
Agreed.
It's not cop
I'm
baiting.
just gonna ask straight up because I
It's-
mean, Dakota, you know how this is gonna
It's
go.
loot boxing, but not
are
really.
The police prepared to get shot and stabbed even more so over these charges, including getting these people into custody to begin with.
Yes.
I guess they got to do it anyway. So
We're already averaging
Might as well
one
try to
shooting or
destroy it.
robbing every other day.
I cannot fathom why act of torture right now is only $2,000 fucking dollars.
Because it's
I
related
figured.
to every. Okay,
raised
hold on.
too?
It's proportional to everything else.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
right now, for example, people make a certain income rate. So the charges were adjusted based around the economy.
Right.
The overall, right, where we ended,
I'm just gonna
5 years
say
ago
the
or so,
increase in fine is not going to stop anything.
those
No, I know.
charges were across the board cut by about 40%.
It will make it hurt more, but it's probably not going to stop people from doing it. It's the only
But
way that you can
for
obtain
example,
a legal or
Uh,
it's the only way you can obtain a
it
firearm.
is often important, and as a cop, I mean, I think you know
So,
this.
People will keep doing it.
When
but having
you
it hurt
arrest
more
someone,
will
it is not
definitely make
usually
people,
for one crime.
you know,
So looking at it in a
question if they should or
vacuum
not.
can be problematic. So, for example, if there's kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon, active torture, reckless evading when they're apprehended, resisting arrest,
But if
other illegal
here's the thing, though,
possessions,
I'm
maybe joyriding,
gonna
whatever.
shoot that down real quick because
We
Crane said the
start
same
getting up
last time.
there, and
I
so we
brought it
need
up.
to figure out, what's the appropriate
you
amount, not
put
only for each charge, but for like a
guns
scenario.
in civilians' hands instead of cops' hands.
So while
be
I'm
targeted
not
instead of the
averse to increasing crimes that are especially,
it won't change anything. It's just
popular
going
is
to
a
go from
bad
cops
word,
to
but
civilians.
that's what I'm going to go with.
And that's why the
For
fine
in the
would be the
moment,
same
Yeah.
to prevent that from happening.
I just want to make sure that we're not just looking at things in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So, for example, right now, prison break is $2,400. Well, if active torture is $2,000,
It
prison
is
break
a,
might need to be like
it's a role-playing mentality problem.
the way we scale things affects everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
I understand.
Yeah.
So right now, disobeying a peace officer is $240. Obstruction of justice is $400. So it just it's thinking about things proportionally.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not weighing in exactly on one crime or another, or what's a good decision or bad decision. I'm just providing, I think, a way of thinking about it.
Are the individuals who you're catching with like this government equipment, is it still the like in the past where people would have their kits robbed? Like are you all getting raids off of this?
I believe there have been some raids conducted, but I haven't been at them, so I can't really speak to them in great depth.
Yeah,
You know,
like I
those
said,
raids have
it's a
been, like,
server
successful in
role-playing
actually
mentality.
recovering stuff?
People will try and get their hands on
I
guns.
do not know off the top of my head.
Because when you have it in terms of tier of being the most
I'm fine with all these, dogs.
dangerous.
I'm fine with all that. I'm curious. What's the reason for making evidence tampering? Who threw that in?
Yeah,
Like, what's the?
I threw that in there, and because if someone who is evidence tampering, like a lawyer, for example, or a cop, I think they should lose their fucking job because they're
Yeah, hard
jeopardizing the
agree.
freedom
Yeah,
of
I
other
agree.
people.
Agreed.
It actually
100%
should have been
agree.
a felony. I don't know why it's not. That's an oversight.
That's a good one.
Gun.
I think
didn't look at that one.
I think
Knife,
it was a felony in the
fist.
past. It may have even been an
Somebody
indiscriminate sentencing
yelling
felony.
at
So
you.
I think something got lost in translation with the new MDT.
Yeah, and this will you know how what was the Brady shit? Okay, we don't need Brady shit. We just need to make evidence tampering a felony.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we had the conversation last
Okay,
time.
I'll
I
change that right
agree.
now.
In case anyone's also
With
curious, in the
Crane,
last
that
15
we probably
minutes,
shouldn't introduce
we've had 3
civilian
more
guns
officers go down while we've been in here. So
Until
were they
criminals have
robbed
guns in
when
their
they went
hands.
down?
I cannot speak to that. I can only speak to that they went down.
The only thing I'm going to say, Dakota, and I know this
Is
isn't the
car equal
response
to
you're
gun
looking
and
for,
knife?
but I would
Good
submit
point.
to you that given that there is no other way of acquiring a firearm in the city right now, that I could make this charge 10 years and $1 million.
She
and
didn't
people would still
respond to
do it.
that.
So
Let 'em
at
do it,
some
dog.
point, I'm just saying at some point, we need to think about, are we actually deterring behavior? What are we, what's the effect?
Yeah, I 100% get what you're saying. I would like to see someone with the charge as I've suggested it get charged and then see what happens from there. I know that not necessarily,
Yeah.
it's not everyone's gonna be deterred from doing things like that, but I
But
think
it's going to
that
make a lot more
it's-
stop and think twice
Yeah.
before they do it.
It's gonna set. So nonetheless, people. The thing is that people at the end of the day want to get their hands on the guns, and that's the only way
Right.
so far is to go through PD. Having it higher fine is gonna set them back more, and it might, make them think twice, or some of them at least. But some people will always go for it, even if it's 50, 100 grand, whatever. They will still do it.
Well, then
Because-
they better be
I'm still down
prepared
to
to
fuck
tank
them
the
for it.
fine.
Yes,
Yeah,
but that's the
yeah.
thing. Gun will always beat knife, and that's the mentality they have. Is that they have the highest
Yeah.
form of,
Mhm.
any sort of
Yeah.
weapon, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it.
it puts you in a
Yeah.
very advantageous position
Yes.
if you have
Yeah,
a
and I'm
firearm. I
just
agree.
gonna say right now, without getting too deep into things, my personal beliefs that I don't think there's any issue with the way the laws and the charges and the precedents have worked. I think it's extremely unfortunate that Murphy Braun suffered amnesia after being shot and was drinking the night before, and that's a catastrophic set of circumstances.
Yeah.
But I do think that
What
in
happened?
general, possession of those government issued firearms needs to be a strict liability crime. Otherwise, there's
Yeah.
no teeth to the law and it's impossible.
I
to
feel like I've
enforce.
not been informed of whatever
Exactly.
happened to Murphy Braun, other than that he got a gun planted.
Okay, so anybody against any of these?
Nope.
Not at all.
All right, so approved.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, he made it like, oh.
Can we just do 1 year and 100K? We're gonna do
Absolutely.
60. We might as well just in
Yes.
for a penny,
Well,
in for a
yeah,
pound,
yeah,
right?
that's
Sure.
the one I think should be the highest. Here.
People
like big
That one,
numbers.
that one, yes, absolutely.
Crane, calm down. 100K?
All right.
Let's
so-
fucking go.
Can I ask what's charges getting a year and $60,000?
The possession of the government weapon.
Oh.
It's a year and 60,000.
A year and 100,000.
Okay.
What do you think about giving
Bruh.
people like Kermit here access to see the stuff, Crane?
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I don't even want the temptation. Well, it's not that I won't do anything, but I don't even want the temptation of being able to see shit.
Okay, well, counterpoint.
want
Counterpoint. You are hearing everything that is being written right now.
Yeah.
So you are already a liability by that definition.
Damn
I
it.
don't even know what charges you guys are talking about.
I
Fuck. Oh,
that's
God.
true. Yeah.
look, I don't have a
Mhm.
problem because
is good
I think I trust the people that Alex hires as clerks.
Mhm.
So if they are officially employed with the government, then I don't have a problem with them seeing it.
Nice.
Robbery of a
Okay.
law
Yeah.
enforcement.
Let's have a note
from
keeping.
2,000 to
Can I-
10K.
Can I have my own role on the NBT?
No, it's just
Bitch,
gonna be
no.
clerk.
Oh,
Just
oh,
under
oh,
thank you,
clerk
Alex.
thing. Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought.
Bro,
Alright.
Alex has her own role though
Thank
because
you,
she's,
Alex.
the-
Thank you.
she's the chief clerk.
well, he said
I feel
Kirby,
like
so I didn't know we were talking about
Benji
every clerk. I was
is
just
happy that he got caught
So both of you are clerks
before this
So-
was changed.
So it works out. you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
I agree, Mr. Mayor. I think that's a good idea.
Sick.
Anybody disagree
Best
with that?
time to plant a gun.
No, that's fine.
Nope.
We're
Yeah,
about to
it's a
have
government
another
employee,
one.
right?
Exactly. Yep.
As
long as they're held to the
not,
same
I would not
standard.
extend that to let's walk that back a second.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be.
I would
every
not
government
extend that
employee.
to EMS doctors or PD.
No, that's fine. Yeah, they.
I
they don't
mean,
need
government
to
employee in terms of on the
Mm.
legislative or
The
administrative side
planting
of
gun
things,
one
Yeah, of
is
course.
is still rough.
because those are the people that'll be involved with this shit anyway.
Did Mr. K? Wait, who had a planted
if I
gun
may add,
again?
this is strictly for the notes. If somebody is charged with possessing a PD gun,
Murphy,
it's
was
the
that-
year in 100K. I get that. Is it more so like there's no arguing it, or can they still argue like any other charge?
You would need to provide
Yeah,
someone,
but that's the
and,
thing.
and I'm
it's-
gonna
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
it's that easy to plant
say
a
this
gun.
pretty plainly. I don't think if you get to court possessing a PD gun as your charge, you would have to provide an affirmative defense whereby you could prove or argue beyond a reasonable doubt that it was
K had his own gun but didn't
Try to
shoot
phrase
it.
this.
But wasn't it a stolen gun? Doesn't matter. It's matter.
maybe not
was-
beyond a reasonable doubt.
was
Maybe there
forcibly
be. I
placed
mean,
on
in
your
my
person?
mind, there would need to be a preponderance
I'm fine with this.
that
Anyways, I don't
your
care.
affirmative defense
I am
carries more
fine with
weight
this.
than
You
the
should
null
get
hypothesis,
shafted.
right? Which is you just had it. Okay.
Mhm.
And the only way to do that would be to provide alibi evidence or corroborating witness statements that
Yeah, exactly. Now they
could
can grab
prove
DNA and shit,
or
and
lean towards
I know
proving that it was
Nakoda is
planted
gonna
on you,
bring
things
up
like that.
having
In
everyone's
my mind,
DNA on file, as long as you're a government official.
the discretionary portion of this charge comes down to
To
the
prevent
PD.
this exact thing.
So if the PD stumble upon, someone sprawled out on the ground who is otherwise not involved in conflict in any way or whatever, then that's their discretion to charge someone or not. But as I said before, if the judiciary starts trying to get into this habit of adjudicating the idea of the charge outside of evidence to the contrary, then it's a lot of guesswork.
Yeah.
And I don't think it serves the city, because then the deterrent has no teeth, because anyone can just,
This is the
throw their hands
car
up.
that. What? What the fuck? Why is the cars in? God damn it! I wish the gauntlet wasn't so bad, or the buffalo. It looks good at the front. The back looks awful.
Okay, so I'll put those in.
Gauntlet looks good. This
what else we
one
got?
is a bit more questionable. This is the one that Mary has. We should probably just buy
Oh,
this one. This one
my last one, and I don't know if
not
this
too
is
expensive and it goes like fucking
I
100.
potentially thought I heard this was in the works, but do we want to make a hard ruling on how many points results in a suspended license?
The
heard
normal
it was
buffalo
20.
looks like ass.
Yeah, it's always been 20.
Sultan, whatever.
I don't believe it's like actually on the book.
Yeah,
though.
it's not listed anywhere,
Actually
though.
looks good.
So a DUI is
I've heard
20
people
points.
talk about that. Where
Yeah, DUI is 20 points and an automatic suspension. So I figured 20 was
The
the
Rakato
appropriate
isn't
number.
bad either, but
Is there a hard programmed timer for points to fall off?
Yes.
just put the Obey logo on the old
20's
Warrior.
fine.
it was like every 30 days, right? Or 20.
Yes, that's the thing, Phantoms.
The
Like,
clock
it's-
runs
the
from
back
each
just is
incident.
too
Right.
too
I guess this is a question
weird.
for more. When the points fall off,
It's like
if
you
they
have the
fall below
roundness.
20,
It's a lot of the cars have that, where the front is round and then the
There
back
is
is just
okay, so we do not remove
boxy.
people's driver's licenses formally from their profile. The reason
Okay,
being is that then if their points fall off and they should have a
I
reinstated
feel like
driver's license,
if that's the case, we should just invest in
they
this
are
one.
then
the
needing
Premier.
to basically get a clerk or a judge to reinstate it. And then there's often arguments between
Yeah, that
them and
makes them
police
ugly.
about, well, the points fell off, I just couldn't find a judge, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So the agreement we made with PD is that we don't formally remove licenses. We just put a note on someone's profile that it's suspended per 20 points. And then that note should be removed when it falls below 20 points.
So is the onus on the person to make sure that it's removed once the points fall off, or
Well, I mean, I would hope that an officer could look at someone's profile, see they have less than 20 points, and say, "Oh, you're good," and remove the note.
I should find like
Yeah,
some
yeah.
game to play against fucking Moon as we do this fucking thing. Overwatch 2? Bruh. No, like a browser game.
Do we need? Is there? So that's not written anywhere.
Yeah, no.
No.
Okay, we could put that somewhere.
Is there worms?
Do we
Worms
want
legislation.
to? If anyone's over 20 right now, which I don't know if anyone actually is, are we going to retroactively, like, the next time that person gets pulled over, they're made aware that they're over 20, or are they
chess? I'm fucking terrible
grandfathered into this in some capacity?
I
I
feel
don't
like
even
the
know.
next instance they should be notified. Like, okay, this is
Yeah,
it.
they get a